Podcast. We're here representing the 54th. And what's up, boys? How y'all doing today?
What's good, man?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's at it, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Of
Yeah,
course, man.
most definitely.
No doubt, man. So right here, we're basically going to be doing our live mock draft. We've been talking about this in the group chat. These boys are all knowledgeable, man. Deuce, DT, Breeze, bring some good knowledge to the game. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about this going on with our podcast tonight. So basically, what we're going to do, we're looking over at our podcast over here. Basically, what we're going to do is go through a full 32 or 31 selections of the first round of the mock draft. What we did, we kind of talked about and broke it down going into the draft. We kind of talked about, who basically, they picked random numbers, right? Deuce picked 3, Breeze picked 4. Ceelo actually picked number 1, and DT's jumping in for him. What we're going to do is we're basically going to break down and be the GMs for each team that we see over here. So the way it goes down is I got in charge of the NFC South and the AFC South over here. So I'll be picking for the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons, as well as the Jaguars, Titans, Colts, and Texans. DT is tapping in for Ceelo. He's doing the AFC North and NFC North. So we got that over here. And then we also got Deuce doing the AFC East and the NFC East. And then finally the NFC West and AFC West. So we're kind of going to break that down today. Boys, before we get started, is there any draft strategy or anything you guys are kind of thinking about going into the draft? Deuce, what are you thinking?
I ain't telling y'all.
All right, cool. I like that. All right.
I'm about to rock this joint.
All right, Breeze, Deuce, got anything to share at all? Y'all good?
I mean, this is my first time doing a live mock draft for a team that's not my own. So I'm ready to have a little fun, man.
Yeah, 100%, man. So let's do that. So what we're gonna do before we get started, we're gonna look at the we're using PFF. So I know a lot of you guys use a different mock draft simulators. PFF draft simulator is the best in my opinion, right? So if you look over here, I have the full subscription. If you pull it up, basically what you guys will see on the left-hand side is the full first round. They'll have all the different needs of every single team, like QB, wide receiver, edge. You kind of have it all broken down over there. With a subscription, you guys can actually trade. So I'm kind of curious, like going into the draft, like I talk to these boys every single day. I'm kind of curious where Bijan's going to fall, where Levis is going to fall. If you guys are going to throw some trades in the draft. So let's have some fun with it, mess around with it. We'll do whatever you guys got to do with that. It'd be a lot of fun over there. Also, while we're going through the draft, you can kind of look at it and break it down. You go over to the analysis part. You can kind of look at suggestions. The way PFF does it is they kind of break down all the different players from the fan selection. So if you guys see, Bryce Young is 56.7 overall. He's the leading fan selection with the number 1 pick with the Panthers. Then CJ Stroud over here is number 2. But overall, 98.3% is going to be the actual QB selection over there. So that's kind of how it all breaks down. Are there any questions before we get started, fellas?
Nah.
All right, cool, man. So real quick, before we get started, my boy Yam Zensei over there in Japan, man. Yam in Japan is always hollering at the podcast. He said, "What's up, Deuce Diggler? How you doing, bro?" So shout out to you over there. So we got that over there. All right, cool, man. So if y'all want to get started, so if you guys want to trade, just propose a trade and throw that out there. But we'll start off with the draft, and coincidentally, the first 2 picks go to me. So we're gonna look at the first pick. We're looking at the Carolina Panthers overall. We know they had a huge trade up to get all the way to the number 1 selection, and they're gonna basically pick a quarterback, at least in my opinion, right? So going back, we're gonna look at our big board real quick and kind of see how it all breaks. Hold on, we got the player over here. Obviously Bryce Young is all the way on the top. Jalen Carter is number 2. Will Anderson, CJ Stroud is the 5th overall selection right here, and honestly, I'm kind of caught in a bind, right? So I think Bryce Young is the better player of the 2. I think he kind of does more at Alabama because he has a weaker offensive line and not as many weapons as CJ Stroud. But the size is a big difference for me. Being 6'3", just having that pedigree, CJ Stroud, I think he's going to be more durable altogether. I guess, DT, I know you're the Ohio State boy. What do you think about that? How do you feel about Bryce Young or CJ Stroud at number 1? What are you thinking right there?
Well, when you talk about these 2 players, both these guys both come from California, so they have known each other for a very long time since Elite 11. Mm-hmm. But when you're comparing the 2, I do agree. I think the biggest knock on CJ has been he has the talent, he has a little bit of the athleticism, but he hasn't shown consistently like the Georgia game that he put on tape that everybody has been enamored with. He has done that consistently year in, year out against some of the big games and stuff like that. I think he'll be clearly the number one pick. But I'm gonna go with Bryce Young if I was you. I feel like he is the better overall player, and the fact that he had to play with less talent, which is weird with Alabama. Usually they get the 4 or 5 stars. They kind of regress in the offensive line and the wide receiver position the past couple of years. So I think Bryce Young right now is the better player.
That's a great analysis right there. And I actually agree with you, right? So I think of the two players, I'm going to go number one altogether. I wish I brought the little dinger, the little NFL draft dinger right there. I wish I got it. But I'm going to go with Bryce. I'm going to go with Bryce Young. I think he's the better player. I think they're going to shock the world. People are thinking CJ Stroud, but I think Bryce Young's going to go number one all there. And I think that's going to be a nice little ceiling. He has, high floor. They have Miles Sanders, DJ Shark, Adam Thielen there, Hayden Hurst. The Carolina Panthers are a pretty solid team altogether. All things considered, I'm not going to dwell too much on it. Number 2 overall, the Texans have a weak team, man. They basically have Damian Pierce and not much else on offense. They have weak interior offensive linemen. They could get some help on the edge. Some people are saying Will Anderson might be that pick at number 2. I think that's too rich, man. I think when you're up at number 1 and 2, you got to get a quarterback. So I'm going to go CJ Stroud, number 2 altogether.
Okay.
Any shocks on those first 2 picks?
Nah. I probably would have flipped them, but other than that,
I thought about that too. All right, so we got a new draft GM on the board. GM Breeze, Blue Check Breeze on the board right here, looking at the NFC West. So let's talk about your thought process over here, Breeze. We're looking over here. We got guard, center, defensive line, and cornerback. What are you thinking for the Cardinals, man? They have a lot to improve on. Kyler Murray's hurt. There's lots going on. Are you going to trade? You going to quarterback? What are you thinking?
So for me, I'm thinking, biggest need. I mean, at 3, it's way too early to go guard, way too early to go center.
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, I don't have a corner that I would take quite that high. 3 is a little rich for me for this particular cornerback class. I do think it is a deep class.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves me with really coming down to 2 guys in my mind. I know it has needs listed as defensive line, doesn't specify tackle or edge, which leaves me with, similar to what you have the first 2 picks. I'm down to Jalen Carter and Will Anderson Jr. As to who I would take with this 3rd pick. Now, me being a GM, I don't have to worry about off the field issues. So I know I know coming into the season, Will Anderson Jr. was looked at as like the best player in college football.
Yeah.
As the season kind of unfolded, I think Jalen Carter kind of separated himself a little bit. And I feel like, off the field issues aside, I think Jalen Carter ultimately showed to be the better player. And I think top to bottom, Jalen, minus the quarterback position, I think Jalen Carter is ultimately the best player in this draft. And if I'm Arizona, I don't think I can afford to let the best player in the draft just walk by knowing that he feels a need on my team. So the number 3 overall pick, Arizona Cardinals select Jalen Carter.
All right, I like that. The first surprise of the draft right there. Boom. All right, there you go. Jalen Carter walking up over there. Perfect. All right, so we're looking at our next spot. Oh, that's where you're going to go right there? All right, so back to me. So I got 3 of the first 4 picks. Looking at the AFC South, it's funny, man. So our group chat was, we light up text all day long. So we had a funny conversation about basically Jim Irsay, man. We know how wild that man is, right? We saw that one post he put up the other day. He's itching for a quarterback, man, and he's itching for basically star power. He's had, Phillip Rivers, he's had Peyton Manning, he's had Andrew Luck. The Colts are kind of spoiled in regard to basically having a quarterback in their docket. It's kind of wild, man. So this quarterback is a complete opposite of what they've done in the past, but I think the upside is there, and it's crazy, man. Being 6'3", putting up these monster stats, just blowing up the combine. I think Anthony Richardson's going to slide right here, and I think it's just a roll of the dice. It just kind of shows you that maverick spirit of Jim Irsay, because this could be a complete whiff of a pick, but I think I'm going to dial in Anthony Richardson, Florida, going to the Indianapolis Colts right there, number 4 altogether. So that's a wild pick, but I mean, let's do it, man. Let's go for it. All right, moving over to the NFC North, Detroit Lions. Who's that? Oh, that's DT, right?
No, we got pick 5. That's Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. My bad. So back west. All right, go ahead.
That is me back on the clock again.
You and Anthony Richardson at 4?
Let's talk about this for a second. Let's
do it. I love it. Let's do it. I'm ready.
That is to me.
No, go ahead. It's gonna be a crazy pick, right?
That is a crazy high pick for Anthony Richardson. And I understand, you need a quarterback, and if there's any position you want to reach on, if you think that's your guy, it's the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Man, Anthony Richardson terrifies me, right? I feel people look at Anthony Richardson and his size and his physical, what he's capable of, and just instantly Cam Newton jumps out at you. Mm-hmm. And best case scenario, you're getting a MVP caliber player, right? And if he replicates Cam Newton, but I just think the potential downside to that is so bad, like so bad. If you miss on that pick, like that's going to set your team back a while. Like missing on the quarterback pick. That as we all know as Commanders fans, you know what I mean?
I feel you on that. I think Anthony Richardson is the ultimate dice roll. I think Jim Irsay is crazy enough to be that. He is like the AFC Dan Snyder. He's gonna force that pick, in my opinion. And I think Shane Steichen coming over from Philadelphia, he coached up Jalen Hurts. He kind of built that run offense and kind of built the offense around him. I think he will. He's willing to take on that challenge. So Breeze basically said Richardson AR-15 is a wild pick. Deuce, DT, what do you got on that? Is he too rich for your blood?
I mean, that's your team, man. I'm diggling over here, man. I gotta focus on my own team, man.
Arch in the chat said it's not the prophecy. LOL. He's been co-signing the Raiders going to Anthony Richardson the whole time. So we got that there. DT, any thoughts? I know you're into this.
So I get about AR-15. He definitely has a lot of some flaws on tape, and it does scare you. But when you talk about this guy, he has athleticism, and when you look at all the physical traits, it just blows you out the way. Now it's all about molding the young man, having a great system behind him and a good supporting cast, and someone to be patient with him. And I think that's what it is with the NFL: is can you be patient with a guy of this caliber who only had legit 1 year of production, and you really want to be honest with you, like he doesn't even have 1,000 throws. It's literally a season worth of throws and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be the biggest fear when it comes to Anthony Richardson. You don't have enough tape on him, but the ceiling is absolutely high, but the floor can lead you to hell.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And I think the one thing with the Colts is they don't have the infrastructure around him too. Like I think you're exactly right, DT. I think it's an aggressive pick, because if you're going to get a quarterback like that, you have to build around him and insulate him. Like an offensive coordinator that believes in him, have to have his offensive line. I guess the run game is there with Jonathan Taylor if he bounces back. But basically, Sam Ellinger's QB1 right now, right? So like Anthony Richardson is going to be on the field pretty quickly. So that's kind of the fear there. So. All right, we don't have to dwell too much on that. Going back to the big board, who do we got over here?
It's on me now with the 5th pick.
All right. Oh, you have a good pick right here. I see what you're gonna do.
It's kind of hard to ignore it at this point, right?
Right.
I mean, Seattle was a team that recently has been built on the defensive side of the ball, right? Mm-hmm. We have a player that again, was viewed by most people coming to the season as laugh at the comments, as the top player in college football, and he didn't really have much fall off. He still was very much a dominant football player. Just other guys elsewhere kind of stepped it up, and teams' needs in the draft prior to the 5th overall pick kind of caused things to shake out how they shake out. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, if I'm the Seattle Seahawks GM, after I make my pick, I'm going to go to the podium and say I feel like we got the best player in the draft. And with the 5th overall pick, it's pretty easy for me. I'm going to walk to the podium and announce with the 5th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks select Will Anderson Jr., defensive end or edge rusher, at University of Alabama.
Lock it in. That's a great pick. And I feel like Seattle always gets away with that, right? They always kind of have that steal of a pick in the draft, or they always kind of have that dark horse candidate to be one of the best players out there. So that's a great pick, Breeze. I like that. You walk away happy with that pick right there. That's a good pick.
Absolutely.
All right, looking at number 6 overall. So the North, I think DT is the first time walking up to the podium. Detroit Lions. So there's a lot going on here. One of the up and coming offense, really bad defense. So where are we going, DT?
Yeah, so Detroit is.
Slim said, "Who took AR at 4?"
I took AR 4. I did. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh my God! Yeah, so the thing about Detroit, when you talk to a lot of the fan base so far, they actually feel like for the first time they don't really have to address big needs and for a while now. So looking at this team, they do have an explosive offense, but looking at the defense, they were very optimistic. They had Aiden Hutchinson. They did get some production from a 7th-round rookie on the other side with 7.5 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
The Jeff Okudah pick did not pan out well. Let's be very fair and blank. They also addressed in free agency. But if you're talking about getting a guy that can help out in the secondary and be the number one corner, you might have to take a swing here. And for me, I'm going to take Christian Gonzalez at 6. I think he's out of all of them the smoothest one.
Oh, man.
He helps that secondary right there.
All right, that's a great pick. I'm not going to argue with you at all. I'm just going to pose this question, right? So, obviously, Dan Campbell for the Lions, he's known for being that, that aggressive, crazy kind of coach, that defensive coach, like bite your kneecaps, whatever crazy thing that he said during that press conference. Devin Witherspoon is the number 7 overall draft prospect on PFF. He's known for being tough. Why did you pick Christian Gonzalez over Devin Witherspoon? I'm just curious. I agree with you. I'm just saying, why'd you do that?
Yeah. Well, to me, the one thing about Witherspoon is the size does concern me a little bit. I do think the length is kind of similar to Okudah, what they had, but I do think Christian can have the same movements and same things just like Jeff Okudah, but I think he'll be a little bit better than what Jeff Okudah was supposed to be. Remember, Jeff Okudah was a talented player. I just think a lot of injuries and the cultural things that he was battling against Dan Campbell, because that wasn't the coach that drafted him. Those are things that were going against Jeff Okudah, and that's why he got shipped away. I think you get the same type of player in Christian Gonzalez. I just prefer Christian Gonzalez because of his size, length. You saw the production at Oregon. He was a talented player at Colorado before he was. And to me, I think between Witherspoon and Gonzalez, I don't really see a big gap. So I can afford to kind of take that risk going Christian Gonzalez over Devin Witherspoon.
I think they're both good prospects with Christian Gonzalez with that size as a higher projection, higher upside, right? So I can see where you went there. So good pick right there, DT. I like it. All right, let's move on. So we're going over to the Raiders. All right, so going over to Big Breeze. Me and Breeze are just dominating this draft so far. All right, the Raiders.
I know, right?
I know Arch is mad at me for picking AR at 4. What are you going to do now?
So I don't think I'm going to fulfill Arch's prophecy. As being the new Raiders GM on the job, I want to kind of change the way we've done things in the past. I don't want to necessarily make a
sound decision.
I want to make what I think is a sound decision. I'm not going to jump out there and pick, a guard that runs a 4.7 with the 7th overall pick or I'm not going to do that. We went out and we traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm confident in Jimmy Garoppolo's abilities with Devontae Adams and some of the pieces that we have on this offense to at least manage the game well enough that we can move forward. So when I look at our division, I look at the Chiefs. We already know what the Chiefs do, right? The Super Bowl champions, right? Chiefs speak for itself. You have the Chargers, who have a young quarterback in Justin Herbert, who like to put the ball in the air and move the ball downfield. I like where you're going. Broncos, we kind of don't, Russ is, but they just got Sean Payton. And, Sean Payton, we know what Sean Payton likes to do with the ball in the offense as well. So if I'm, as the GM of the Raiders, I had to do something to combat this.
I like this, Bruce.
In my mind, I'm not trying to get offensive player to get in a firefight every game. I'm going to try to nullify these offenses as much as I can. So Christian Gonzalez just coming off the board hurts me a little bit, but it's fine because my number one graded cornerback is still available as the Raiders GM. So with the 7th overall pick,
come on, man.
I like this. That's a good pick, man.
I think I said Oakland. Pardon me. The Los Angeles, the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah. Las Vegas Raiders. Pardon me. The Las Vegas Raiders select. Hold on. Devin Witherspoon, cornerback from the University of Illinois.
That's a fantastic pick. I like that, man. I like that a lot.
Man,
I like it.
How much time you get between these picks, man? Because he forfeited that jump, man.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean,
he forfeited that jump, man.
Bree's gonna run to the podium and steal the pick. That's funny.
Deuce is hating right now. Deuce is hating. It's cool. But if I'm the Raiders, I have to do something to nullify this offense, to nullify these offenses that I have to play against.
CJ goes boo. Okay, nah, dude. Honestly, Breeze, I love that because I'm not gonna lie. I wanted Christian Gonzalez with my pick for the Falcons. I wanted that CB pick right there. DT poached that, which I understand, and then you took Devin Witherspoon. I'm kind of scrambling right now, so honestly, I kind of want to trade back or maybe look around in that regard. So that definitely messed me up. That's a good idea. Deuce, we haven't heard from you that much because your picks can fall in different direction. What's your thought on drafting to counteract your division? Is that a smart strategy in your opinion, or do you always go for upside? What do you think? I like what Bree said.
I think it's a small percentage of it, right? But I want them to draft because of me. Like, I don't want to keep chasing them. I want them eventually to be chasing me, but you still have to respect your division, right? You can't, if your division is top heavy in wide receivers, you got to get some pass coverage guys, right? You got to get some edge rushes to be able to get upfield to kind of help that. So, so I'm kind of leaning both ways when I kind of think about that, but I would look at it probably like 30-70. Which 30 is kind of paying attention to it what my division is doing, and the other 70 is just trying to fill my team so we can compete with anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just kind of look at it as like, to Deuce's point, if I'm chasing you, which I feel like the Raiders are doing a lot of chasing in that division right now. At some point, I got to catch you first in order to have you then chasing me. So I'm gonna do what I can to help catch you, and then hopefully pass you, and then have you try to play a catch up. And these comments are hilarious.
They are hilarious. I love the chat. You guys are blowing up. I love it. It's perfect. I love it. All right, man. So you guys got me a little spin right now. So going in, I was like, I'm going to lock in the CB position at the Falcons no matter what, right? So I'm looking at the draft board. I'm like, all right, the Falcons need a quarterback. We have Desmond Ridder right now. We just got him. Should we invest in him a little bit right there? I'm not sure. Wide receiver, I don't know if I want to get Quentin Johnson's kind of intriguing. Get that, I think he has the longest wingspan for a wide receiver in the draft. He's a huge target to provide for Desmond Ridder. And then there's edge, and I think I might start kind of looking at that a little bit, right? Because it's kind of funny. Like, I'm not going to go this route, but like we always talk about Bijan, right? And basically how he's a dominant generational player, and you can't miss him by any means whatsoever, right? And for those of you that actually follow the NFL hard and kind of heavy, the Falcons are one of the top running offenses in the entire league. So he'd be a great fit right there, with the quarterback and their offensive line. I'm not going to go Bijan. I don't think the value is there for him that high. So I'm going to kind of look a different direction there. Quentin Johnson is intriguing, but he drops the ball a lot for those of you guys that actually kind of follow him a little bit. Like, he does have that upside, but he does drop the ball. There is a guy, Tyree Wilson, right here at Texas Tech. I believe he's like, let me try and pull it up real quick. He has a huge size. I know he's 275. I thought he was also 6'6". So he's 6'6", 271. He basically is an edge rusher that basically has all the upside. That could potentially blow up into a double-digit sack guy. And, honestly, after Will Anderson went and after Jalen Carter went, he's probably the best edge rusher on the board. So I'm going to go for that upside. I'm going to reach for it. I think I'd rather go edge and wide receiver here because you can get wide receivers a little bit later in this draft class. So I'm going to pick Tyree Wilson right here at 8. And I'm going to cross my fingers and see what happens there. I don't know. I kind of feel dirty about that pick. I don't know how y'all feel about it. That's kind of where I'm at right there.
I would have given Desmond Ridder a little bit of help on the offensive side of the ball, but I'm not mad at going with edge though. Y'all are crazy in these comments, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Trade. I should have traded it. I got some offering trades coming up in these next couple of picks. That's a good call. I agree on that. Yeah.
Falcons got Heineke. They good.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so we're going back to the north. All right, so going over here as back to DT again, right? The Chicago Bears. They decided that Justin Fields is the future. They're going to trade back a little bit. They have a lot of help. They need a lot of help on the offensive line, defensive line, and quarterback is what PFF is saying. DT, what are you saying?
Yeah, so when you look at the Bears, of course, the line of scrimmage for both sides had some good things, had the bad things. They were one of the top running teams last year, but pass protection was pretty bad. And also Justin Fields' first full year as a starter has some faults to it. So looking at the tackles, you have Skronsky and you have Paris Johnson still on the board. And unfortunately, Jalen Carter is gone. So I'm going to go with Paris Johnson. I think he's back on this draft and give Justin Field an old teammate from Ohio State.
Cool. Hey, Breeze, I heard a little groan. Is there why do you do that? You like Paris Johnson? No. You don't like him, or how you feeling?
No. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I'm all on board for giving Justin Fields as much help as possible on the line and at receiver. So I'm with it. I'm not mad at that pick at all. I thought he was going to take a different tackle, but I'm not mad at the selection.
Oh, he took Paris Johnson.
We got Bijan here. Was a comment in the chat. How do y'all feel about that? D2G, was that even a consideration to you?
Nah, not really. Yeah, I just did it on purpose so it gets spicy.
Okay, you did it on purpose to get spicy. I like that. Okay, cool. All right, moving ahead. All right, so
the moment y'all been waiting for.
Welcome to the draft, dudes. We're going on the Philadelphia Eagles, going to the NFC champions here. They got a lot going on. So, what's your thought process at 10? Deuce, you looking to trade back? You looking to select somebody right here? You looking for Bijan?
It was something depending on how the draft feel. A couple picks on my big board kind of went early. Where I was looking at could kind of help out. There's the defensive side of the ball. I think the Eagles can wait to go. We can wait to go offense later in the draft.
Yeah.
So this is a place where they were strong in the secondary. They lost a few pieces. They lost Gardner Johnson. They lost Epps. They was able to get back Slay. They also lost. They also lost. They started the other starting cornerback. So right here, I'm going to add someone in this draft that I think is going to maximize that defense for a few years to come. That he can kind of grow, be there with Slay for another couple years, and we're gonna continue to build up the D line. So right here, I'm going Brian Branch.
Brian Branch, I like that. Okay. All right, so he's a 17th ranked player, average draft position 21.1. So this is like quote unquote a reach, but I kind of like that. So are you worried that he's kind of in a dual position, Deuce, or is that kind of a strength of yours? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a strength as well. It's something to replace that Gardner Johnson type role who can play kind of like all over the backfield. I think Brian Branch can give you that type of dynamic within this defense.
I got you. So Cameron threw in the chat. He was offering Will Levis as a piece of advice. How do you feel about that?
For who?
For the Eagles?
I don't know what the hell he saw. I think the Bears and the Eagles. I don't know what he's talking about. He said Will Levis. Like, all right, cool. Throw that out there. But
maybe he on a delay or something.
He's on delay or something over there. So that's funny. I just want to put that out there. All right, going back to the Tennessee Titans. So this is kind of an intriguing one right here. So Tennessee Titans, basically it's me back on the draft board. They're kind of in a weird spot, right? I feel like I like Mike Vrabel as a coach. He kind of brings that toughness to the team. Obviously, they have Derrick Henry. He's a beast, but he's starting to get, plenty of tread on that tires there. Their offensive line is kind of falling apart, kind of getting a little bit weaker there. Taylor Lewan actually retired recently. They do need a wide. Yeah, he got cut, right? He got cut actually, but yeah, I think he retired from the league though, right? I don't know if he's still in the league anymore, but so basically, he got cut. Ryan Tannehill is older. Like I guess they could look at Will Levis potentially, but I don't like that pick there. I wouldn't really put Will Levis with the Titans, and I don't really see that upside there. I am looking at the offensive line. I know in the chat we was talking about Scantron for Zukowski right here. The one thing I like about him is that he basically he offers he has short arms. We know that, right? But he's ready to play right now. He could just jump in and play at guard or tackle. So I am considering him. I'm considering a wide receiver as well to kind of get a little upside and kind of like spark, the offense a little bit. Treylon Burks, we got him last year. JSN, man, I don't think he's a top 11 pick. I don't know if I would go that route because he's kind of more of a slot wide receiver for me. So I'm kind of looking around, and I don't see any picks that I love. So I'm kind of like, does anybody want to trade up to pick 11 by any chance? Throwing that out there. Nah.
I don't have much firepower to move up if I wanted to.
That's true. I think I'm going to take another pick, and I see CJ says move his stock, move his. I think he might be talking to Scantron, moving to guard in his stock route. He likes that at all. I think honestly, I don't love the pick, but I think what I am going to do, I do think the Titans need offensive line help. He is one of the better offensive line prospects in the draft. I don't think he's gonna play tackle in the league, but I think he will be a guard. So I am gonna take Scantron at 11. Kind of build up that run game in Tennessee.
That's actually a pretty solid pick. Very solid pick, actually.
Mm-hmm. All right, going back down to me. There you go. So I'm going back to Houston Texans. I had a lot of picks early on. I guess the NFC and the AFC South kind of suck, right? So I kind of got these picks in front of me right here. Looking at the Houston Texans, we got CJ Stroud, the second overall pick. Basically QB, wide receiver, center, defensive line are the needs that we see here. It's intriguing. Like for me, Kalijah Kancey kind of is intriguing to me. He's a little undersized defensive tackle from Pittsburgh. People kind of say he's Aaron Donald Jr., which I think is like blasphemous. You can't really go that far with him, but he does have a high motor. You do kind of want to look at that a little bit. Wide receiver, I feel uncomfortable picking these guys that high. Like I kind of like Jackson Smith and G, like more like in the 15 and 20 range, but like at the same time, we are kind of there, right? So maybe a wide receiver does go off the board. Let me see what some of the draft picks see over here. So Jackson Smith and Jibba was like, he is the number one pick right here. Quentin Johnson, Luca Van Ness are some of the picks that we see right here. And they're going wide receiver 50% right there. So that is pretty interesting. So I'm kind of down between Jackson Smith and Kalijah Kancey, but I'm going to kind of outsource to y'all. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any, you guys are going to pick for him. I want your advice though. What would you do there?
I'm going JSN, honestly, if it's me.
JSN, why is that?
You drafted your quarterback of the future. Yeah. And I think JSN can do a little more than just playing the slot. I think he's a much better receiver than a lot of people give him credit for, especially coming from the coaching tree that he comes from at OSU. The work speaks for itself. If I'm Houston, I'm going to pair JSN right now with
they have met you too
Young.
From the Go ahead, DT. I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead. What did you say?
Oh, I was just naming some of the players that, Texans do have some pieces. They're not really as well known, but you actually watch them, they're very productive. Brevin Jordan, tight end. Nico Collins, a good X receiver. John Mechie will come back.
Yeah, Mechie coming back.
So if you get a guy like JSN, in my opinion, who already has the continuity with a CJ Stroud, you can get something of relevance like Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase or
that's true.
CJ Stroud, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No, that's a great pick. Actually, I like that. You guys convinced me there. So, I see Caleb in the chat says GSN's a top 15 pick. Don't do that, George. Let's see what else we got. Slim said the same thing. Yeah, I agree. Slim, everyone's all in there. I think you're right, man. I think JSN, he's not a burner, but he is a refined route runner. In my opinion, Ohio State is wide receiver U. You basically just kind of every single year they're busting him out, right? They're refined. And I'm gonna pick him and feel comfortable with that. So I'm going JSN at 12. And I think we're gonna build around CJ Stroud. I like that pick.
And I mean, what better quarterback to pair him with?
Exactly right.
Coming into the league.
If you're gonna set him up for success, exactly right. I agree with that. Good job. All right, going over to the AFC East. Deuce is back on the clock. The Jets. You're gonna build around Zach Wilson. You're gonna build around Aaron Rodgers. Deuce, what are you gonna do, bro? What's going on right here?
We're going into this draft believing that we have Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, the deal is almost done. He should be here before July. That's what we're hoping he could be here for the start of training camp. The trade is going to go through. So that's my thinking here. And what better than to do something with Aaron Rodgers that no one has really ever done for him is to give him consistent weapons. He already has Garrett Wilson. He has Breece Hall that's going to be coming back. They also picked up who they pick up?
Then they picked
up the Chiefs.
They got the guy
Yep. Nicole Hartman. We have Alan Lazard, which is just like a Aaron Rodgers add-on in a sense. So right here, I'm going with Quentin Johnson right here to add
to that
Arsenal pick. Arsenals for Aaron Rodgers to give him something that he never really had before, and that's multiple weapons.
That's true.
That's what I'm going here for the Jets.
And Deuce, I agree with that. Going with Quentin Johnson, like if you're going to go out and make that big move for Aaron Rodgers, you basically have to go all in, right? You can't be like this is a 3, 4, 5 year process. You got to build around him and basically hope he can, win now, right? So I kind of like that pick. You're kind of building around him.
And I know, and I know, like Beckton has been injured, but he's looking good in the off season. Some of the videos that he's posted, he's lost some weight. They also had a draft pick that they picked last year, right tackle in the 4th round. They have they have Wes Schweitzer that they had him. So I think I can wait to kind of help with that offensive line. But I want to show Aaron Rodgers that I'm serious about winning, and I want him to be able to succeed. So hopefully he'll stay longer than 1 year. So I'm going to give him some more young weapons.
No, I like that. And honestly, the offensive linemen are kind of falling a little bit. So, we had Strunkowski and Paris Johnson fall, but there's still a lot of more talent on the board. So we got some people that are out there. All right, so Deuce, back to back. You had Quentin Johnson and the Jets at the 13th pick. Now we're moving on to the Patriots with the 14th. What are you going to do there? Well, Levis season, what are you going to do?
Yeah, this is the tricky one, which I was kind of thinking about what I would do here.
They need quarterback.
Yeah,
CB and your boys on the board.
But see, like that's the thing, man. It's like when you think about the Patriots and you think about Bill Belichick and how he succeeded, like we don't know what's going on with the dude with the terrible walk. We don't know if he's going to trade, if we're going to trade him or not. If Anthony Richardson was there, that would have been something that I would have considered here for the Patriots. So this is where if I was them, I would have looked to kind of trade to get out of here.
And I'll give you a little help too. Just looking at, I don't know if you can see the board right here. There's some of the options that other people have done. Looking at trade would be a good option. PFF has Luka Van Ness, Paris Johnson, Darnell Wright, Christian Gonzalez, but a lot of them are gone now. They have tackle and edge and CB as their top 3 is what the fans have been picking. So
yeah. That's what I was kind of thinking to help build up the offensive line to start back to how they was good and kind of build up the trenches and hopefully they can help them out. So that's why right here I was going to switch it up and I'm going to do something that I think Belichick would do and not care about anybody else.
He doesn't care about anybody.
He doesn't care about anybody else thinks, and he knows how he's successful. So right here for the Patriots, I'm gonna go with Dalton Kincaid.
I like that. Get a little Gronkowski right there. It's a little, smaller, but definitely a little high upside tight end. I like that. Okay, that's cool. That's a good pick. It's funny. I don't know if you saw in the chat, Caleb basically said you're trying to force Porter Jr. to 16 is what he said.
I know what Deuce. I don't know what Deuce want to do at 16.
Yeah, exactly. So we got even saying that for months now. So we got that. All right, cool. All right, so going back to the big board, let's take a look real quick. Let's see what we got over here. I guess it's the Packers, right? So going back to DT. What are the Packers going to do? QB? That's funny to have QB up there. They're showing no love to Jordan Love, actually, for PFF. Wide receiver, tight end, D-line, and safety is on the board.
Yeah, that's kind of nasty for a quarterback.
That is nasty.
But so dang, I'm kind of mad at Deuce, man, because I think the Packers, not the Packers, Patriots already kind of addressed the tight end a little bit, so kind of rich at that position. We all know how the Patriots is with tight ends. Tight end draft is deep, but I think I would probably need to address the defensive line a little bit. I think Preston Smith is getting a little bit older in age, things like that. So I'm gonna take Luke Van Ness. I know this guy he hasn't played a lot, but I think with a defense like Preston Smith, he can teach the young man things like that. And then once they let go of Preston Smith, he can be the full-time starter.
I like that pick. Luka Van Ness is kind of like a polarizing player, right? Like he has a great RAS score. He's very athletic, but people don't know what to do with him, right? He basically could play inside, like over 3 technique, almost a defensive tackle. He can also play the edge, but people don't really know where he's going to be in the NFL. But some people argue he's a top 10 pick, so getting him at 15 is a pretty good steal. So I like that. Luka Van Ness, dial it in. All right, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Pick number 16. All of us are Commanders creators right here.
What you going to do, dude?
So real quick, Slim said Van Cheeks is what he said in the chat. I like that. That's good. That was funny. He said Van Cheeks. But Deuce, take your time on this one. We kind of know what you're going to do, but take your time on this. I like what Caleb's saying in the chat.
He ain't gonna take his time. He heard from last night that podcast.
He already got the jersey already in his house.
What Deuce gonna do?
This is the way the draft is falling for me is exactly how I pictured it and exactly how I wanted it to fall. A lot of the tackles is being pushed down, which I think we need to address that tackle position. We have that pick 47 in the second round. The more these tackles begin to get pushed down, and I can even think about if it's somebody that I really want that's falling a little further down, I can maybe put something together to kind of come back in the first round. But
use your head or your heart, dude. So what are you gonna do? Head or heart?
2 days ago, I definitely would have went with a PB sandwich. But after some of the information that I got last night from an insider source, I can't do nothing to do because we need to show up these guys on defense, and we need somebody that can look in your eyes and lock you down and tell you I'm looking at you the whole night. So at this point, I'm going home. I'm staying home.
Announce it like we at the draft, Deuce. Announce it like we at the draft.
I'm going with the hometown. This GM Deuce Diggler. We are going with the hometown kid and Deontay Banks with the number 16 pick.
I love that pick. There you go. I love it. There you go. Take it home, baby.
Good pick, Taney. Good pick.
Represent the DMV. Shocks the world, baby. I love that. It's perfect. All right, cool. So
you like that pick.
Yeah, I do like that pick. All right, so we got Deontay Banks going there. Going back to the north, the Steelers. So this is actually pretty interesting. I don't want to, lead the witness, but basically there is some legacy going on. There was a Joey Porter that played for Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if you're going to go that route right there, but they also need a tackle and a linebacker. So I don't know what you're going to do, DT. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to slide a card in, man. Joey Porter Sr. is going to be one happy brother this night. I'm going to go Joey Porter Jr.
All right, very good. That's easy, right? What do you have any concerns? So DT, I view you very highly. I know you know your stuff. Are you worried about Joey Porter Jr. and translating to the next level? What are you thinking about that? Like, do you think
I'm not really as worried about some of the things he do. I do understand he does be grabbing at times and stuff like that. But hey, look, these guys are paid to be what? Coaches. These guys look at your tape, they look at your film, they see, hey, these are some things that you can work on and things like that. So that's their job to work on it. And I think the whole narrative about him just being a press man corner, I kind of disagree. I think he can play zone coverage. I have seen him play off coverage and stuff like that. I don't think he's a fluid, but all it takes is good coaching. And going to Mike Tomlin, a guy who understands and what he wants it very bad.
Tomlin's a great coach.
He's a great coach, and you father played with Mike Tomlin. Who's the best person to get information from? Mike Tomlin. So I think that is a match made in heaven for like father, like son.
Gotcha. Deuce Mayhew fired by Dontrell. All right, got you right there. It's funny. All right, Will Levis to the Lions. You're starting to see some things in the chat. Tiny Tim at CB. We're seeing a bunch of different things. All right, good looking. All right, let's pull this up real quick. All right, so going on. So Joey Porter. So going back to you one more time, DT. The Lions on the clock.
Now this is also perfect. I have Jared Goff. He has played exceptionally well, but I know, I think his ceiling, it's kind of maxed out. So I'm gonna take Will Levis. Perfect system for him. Perfect system, good run game, good wide receivers. Amon St. Brown, Jameson Williams in the second year. Once you max out on Jared Goff, this is a perfect place to learn under Ben Johnson, quarterback coach. This is perfect location. This might be one of the best locations out of all the quarterbacks if you want to make a great argument.
I think it's a fantastic pick, and you kind of saved me, right? Because I had the next pick with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I was like, what am I going to do, right? The Tampa Bay, they need to build around something, right? When Tom Brady left, basically they don't really have any star power anymore. Their wide receivers want to leave. Mike Evans, Mike Evans is there, he's still a great player, but they have Baker Mayfield at quarterback. What are they going to do? I considered Will Levis as well, and I was thinking about I think he would have that high upside. So now I'm kind of caught up in a weird spot. Like, what am I going to do? Let me go look at the analysis that they broke it down. Looking over here at Tampa Bay, look at the big board. Brian Branch is already selected. Darnell Wright is still available. Anton Harris is still available as well. Brian Bracey, local DMV guy right there. Well, Levis is gone. Kalijah Cansey. So there's a bunch of different options here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like these are the thoughts that are going through my head. Darnell Wright's definitely on the board. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind getting Kalijah Cansey as a option of the defensive line. But I think I might do something that might kind of shock the world a little bit, and I think you guys might be a little bit surprised by this. I think 19, right? They need some star power in Tampa Bay. They need some star power in Tampa Bay, and they need to upstart that offense a little bit. So I'm gonna scroll down a little bit right here. Nice and slow. I don't know if you guys can see this over here. I'm gonna pick Bijan Robinson. I'm gonna plug him over here in Tampa Bay. I'm gonna put him right there in South Florida, and I think he's going to basically. They're gonna build around him. They need someone to build around in Tampa Bay, and I think he's going to be he's gonna be a solid back. And we talk about Bijan Robinson every single day in the chat. He's generational apparently. So I feel I got the best player in the draft to pick 19. So I'm chilling right now. So whatever.
I saw that differently. I saw that going differently in my mind.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be able to steal him later on in the draft, but that's what the draft is all about, I guess.
100%. What do y'all think? Is that a reach of a pick? Or do you think it's a good pick? What do y'all think there?
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. They have a few holes to fill. But no, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the pick or your logic behind it. Like I said, I was going to make a similar selection coming up pretty soon, and didn't go that way. But it's okay though. I'm not mad at it though. That's a good spot for him.
He's the most polarizing person we talk about all day. Look at the chats blowing up. We got Bijan, we got Laughing Out Loud, we got Whoop There It Is in the chat right here as well.
Whoop There It Is. It's crazy.
Telly ain't happy. See a bunch of different things over there. So it's funny. No comment. We got a bunch of different things. Hilarious.
Arch.
So I think that pick makes a lot of sense, especially with uncertainty with the quarterback position, and you don't know how good they are going to be. Baker Mayfield on his third or fourth team. Then you have the unknown in a Kyle Trask. So you also let go to Leonard Fournette, and that offense wasn't going good with the running game. You need a spark, and that could be someone that can help them down the years until maybe next year they look at the quarterback position again, either in the draft or try to pursue a high-priced free agent.
He can keep them afloat. I agree, DT. You just have him. He has a high floor at running back. You have Baker Mayfield is in that lower half of the quarterbacks. He can kind of keep them afloat as well. You still got some good ancillary weapons, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So you have some players there. So he'll keep them afloat. So I think it's just kind of, and NFL is also marketing. You need somebody to kind of market around as well. So I think Bijan will do that for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go on the board real quick. Let's take a look on the clock. Breeze. Seattle Seahawks, second pick.
So I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
It's hook'em time.
I'm not quite ready for that one yet.
It's hook'em time.
Not quite ready for that. If this is me, oh man, you kind of.
He said that's a Todd Bowles pick.
Bastard. So okay, here I am now. So I filled my need on the defensive line earlier in the draft. Not looking there.
Let's pull up the board.
20 is a little early for who I believe will and should be the next quarterback off the board. So I'm gonna. Is anybody interested in trading up to 20? Let me ask this question. Anybody at all? Anybody? No. Okay.
I don't see nothing.
Okay. So with that being said, looking at our depth chart, we're kind of lacking in one area in particular, which is the interior of the offensive line. I know 20 is a little high. I know 20 is a little high, but you have a need. At this point, we need to fill our need. So I'm going to take what I think honestly is a slight reach, but still taking the best player at his position in the draft. And with the 20th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks select Osiris Torrance, guard, University of Florida.
I like it. Let me try to find them. Actually, it's funny. I'm trying to pull him up on the board. He's a little bit.
Because that's a reach. That's why you can't find him.
He's ranked 36, average opposition 31. So I mean, it's about an 11 slot reach. But Osiris Torrance, it's all good. So
it is a reach. It is a reach, and he is an interior lineman. I understand, but didn't have any trade partners. And didn't have any glaring need with some of the other players on there. So and since I do believe in Geno and what he did last season, I got to protect him. So and also with the running game that we're trying to build up there. So Bijan Robinson was no longer on the board. I was going to try to steal him a little bit, but we're going to fill the interior of the line.
Gotcha. All right, Breeze, back to back. You're the West, so you basically had the Seahawks, and now you have the Chargers, which Chargers got a lot of firepower out there. There's a pick that I would take on this slot right here, but I'm kind of curious what you got. So Chargers, Justin Herbert, Kellen Moore's offensive coordinator there. The needs, I don't want to force feed you, but the needs are the wide receiver, linebacker, and cornerback. So you got some options there, but I don't know. What are you thinking, bro?
Okay. So the way this draft is shaking out right now, the guys that I would like to select with this, the guys that I would rather select would have wanted that I was looking at taking are not on the board, are no longer on the board.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of second tier of guys are a little bit further down. However,
who are you thinking about, Breeze?
So I'm thinking of Bijan was also a possibility for me at 21. But
great pick.
It was trading Austin Eckler. I'm looking at Keenan Robinson getting a little older. And at some point he's gonna slow down. I like Mike Williams, but I feel like the receiver position is definitely where they had the receiver and probably cornerback.
I agree.
To me, have their biggest needs. So then I'm kind of torn between three guys right now. Those three guys are again slight reaches, but Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, and Emmanuel Forbes. I like Emmanuel Forbes a lot. I think 21 is a little high for him. So I'm not going to take him. And then I'm between Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison. I think Zay Flowers is an incredible route runner. I think he's a very good wide receiver. But at 5'9", he's a little. He's a smaller dude. He's tiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Height wise.
He is. He had 124 targets last year.
Yeah, I mean, he can catch the ball. He can go get it, but his size scares me.
Kind of scares you a little bit.
5'9". Yeah. So with us being in Los Angeles, I think a very underrated receiver. To pair with Mike Williams. Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams. Hopefully, learn from those guys as he continues to develop and move forward. And then keeping him where he's played his most recent college football at. So, with where I'm at, number 21 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC.
There you go, Caleb Williams boy right there. I like that. Solid pick. In the chat, you guys are kind of talking about Jackson Smith and Jiba. He was picked at number 12. I took him with the Texans to pair up with CJ Stroud. That's why he's off the board. So Jordan Allison's it's a solid pick.
Jackson's been gone. Jackson's
been gone. So for real. So got you on that. Honestly, I think that's a good spot for a wide receiver. I think the Chargers should definitely build around Herbert, build around that rookie contract while they have it. I kind of like Zay Flowers in the slot to kind of like create that like upside there. So, Addison's a good pick too.
I just think that they're going to end up moving on from Keenan Allen at some point during his rookie contract.
Yeah.
So I feel like Jordan Addison could do a little more
outside. More all-around receiver. I can see that. Yeah. All right, so we have a couple of North picks in a row. We got the Ravens, and then we got the Vikings back to back. So DT, you going on? Go start with the Ravens.
Oh boy. Okay, so he took one of the guys I was targeting, in Jordan Addison. I do feel like it's all good, man. I do feel like they need to get Lamar back. So they need to do a lot of things to find a way to bring him back. So I'm looking at the wide receiver room, and it's interesting. I have Zay Flowers and a couple other guys. Now, I might debate that I believe this guy is a first rounder, and it could be a reach to some people, but I'm gonna take Josh Downs.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Let me take a look at that real quick.
Oh wow.
UNC wide receiver. That's a good pick, but he's a little bit. His average draft position is about 38, so you're getting him a little bit ahead. But honestly, that's where I want to kind of like think outside the box, right? Once you get to pick 20, 25, it's just a dart throw. You got to pick people that fit your system. So DT, why'd you pick Josh Downs? I like that. He has a lot of production in college. If you look, I'm gonna pull up on the board right here. What he has a 94 receptions and 101 receptions the past 2 years. So why'd you pick him?
Well, when I'm thinking about what Todd Monken's want to do, he does still use the tight ends, but he involves more of the wide receivers. And you look at the offense, things like that. You do have Odell on 1-year deal. You do have Rashad Bateman, hopefully come back for injury. So you kind of need a true slot guy that can be very dynamic. You can move on around. All three of them guys, you could probably move around a little bit more. I think Josh Downs is very underrated. He doesn't get the same love as Zay Flowers. I think they're kind of equal in a sense. So I'm gonna take the guy with that's very underrated. I think he can help him right away. He's kind of like the Jahan Dotson pick from last year. Nobody kind of expected him to be a first rounder, but I think he's gonna be a sneaky first rounder.
I like it. It's a good pick. I like that pick too. All right, so you're back on the clock. You got Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson, and Kirk Cousins, man. So you're over here. They need a wide receiver. They let Adam Thielen walk. They need some D-line help. They need some linebacker help, CB help. What are you thinking, DT?
Yeah, so I definitely going to have to look at the cornerback room because they were getting torched last year. Look at the corners. So I do have Forbes. Banks is definitely gone. I have Forbes. I have Cam Smith. And I have Keely Ringo. I might have to go with the solid defender here. I'm gonna go with Cam Smith because I'm still a little bit scared about the frame. I do understand the ball production, but I need a solid corner one out there with the DBs with Andrew Booth. So give me a combination of Andrew Booth and Cam Smith in Minnesota.
All right, cool. I like that. So let me go over here, pull it up. Cam Smith. All right, so got a little CB action right here. So some depth. Their defense was putrid this year, so definitely getting him to kind of balance that up with their offense. So I like that pick. That's a good pick right there. Good stuff. All right, I'm on the clock with pick 24, the Jaguars. They basically need to build around Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne. They got that offense kind of moving there. Basically, they also need edge and DB help. I don't see any. I mean, Osiris Terrace would have been perfect right here. That Florida boy to stay in Florida. I would have loved that pick, and that's kind of who I had my eye on. So I'm kind of looking around here. At the edge, we see Nolan Smith. That's a really intriguing pick right here. And Miles Murphy is a great pick as well. And honestly, I'm getting pretty good value for them. So I'm kind of seeing that. Let me see what PFF is saying over here. Brian Branch, Miles Murphy, Nolan Smith. We kind of see these different options. Edge and safety is kind of where the Jaguars are going to go. I kind of like the upside. I like those Georgia Bulldogs. I think they're coached pretty well. I want to lock up Nolan Smith and put him over in Jacksonville. That's where I'm going to go. Put a little edge position over here. That's where I'm going to go.
Solid.
All right, so who's on the board next? We got the NFC East going over the New York Giants. You got to build around Daniel Jones, man. So keep that in mind, Deuce.
Yeah, Deuce.
Man, that bum. I might go.
How you gonna build the Giants roster up, Deuce?
I might go hooker right here.
That would that might break the city of New York. You start doing pick a quarterback in the first round.
I think what happened? Oh, I think what we need with the Giants is more weapons. Isaiah Hodgins is the number one wide receiver, and I just don't think that's going to bode well. They did bring in an injury-prone tight end to kind of help bolster that, but I think you need to give I think you need to give Daniel Jones some more weapons. I would have went tight end here, but because we brought in
Darren Waller.
Yeah, I'm about to say Wes Walker. Because we brought in Darren Waller, I think I'm gonna go a little further out, and I'm gonna go wide receiver right here, and I'm gonna go USC Jordan Addison.
Well, he was already yeah, he's picked number 21.
Jordan Addison is off the board.
Hold on, man.
Jordan Addison is playing for the LA Chargers.
He's playing for the LA Chargers.
Man. Oh yeah, we took off. We took off that jump. All right, hold on.
Just to help you out, Deuce, Jordan Addison was the most popular pick. So Jordan Addison was the most popular pick. Zay Flowers was also a great pick, but I think he was gone too, right?
I missed that. I definitely missed that.
Brian Branch, you took 4. Forbes is available. So wide receiver CB are the big 2.
Yeah, I don't want to reach for the next wide receiver. I would love to kind of get a trade out right here. Anything show up there, George?
So for trade, nothing. Yeah. It's like Kansas City could potentially. No one really is starting to trade. I mean, if Breeze wants to trade Kansas City, he's more than welcome to.
What we at now? Let's pick 25.
Yeah.
I mean, we the Super Bowl champions. I don't really have a need to come up that high.
Now, this is a tough one, yeah. All right. I still want to add weapons, so I'm going to continue to add weapons, even though I know I just said Waller. We just got him, but he is injured.
Zay Flowers still on the board too.
I was going to say that's what I was going to say, Deuce. If you want to go, Zay Flowers, pretty good wide receiver.
Oh, Zay's still on the board. Yeah, that's what I. You know what? I think I hit Zay Flowers instead of
Jordan
Addison.
That's exactly what I did on here. That's exactly what I did. Yep. All right.
Yep.
I'm going Zay Flowers.
Lock it in, Boston College.
For the record, I really hope that doesn't happen in real life.
Yeah, me either.
That get on my nerves. But,
he's a good player. I'm rooting for him. Yeah, it's a solid pick. All right, so I think who's right after that? So going back to you, Deuce. So the Cowboys. I took Bijan Robinson. They don't have that option. Running backs are number 1 need. D-line, linebacker, or other options they're looking at. So if you go to the popular picks, Bijan's their first pick. Michael Mayer's number 2. Brian Breesy number 3. I can see Brian Breesy going there. I kind of know Brian from our area. Like he kind of has that little edge to him, so he might be able to fit there. But it's on you. It's your pick.
Yeah, I really like Brian Breesy here. Also, but I also want to we know they're going to have to run the ball. We know they're going to have to they kind of used to having a 2-headed monster back there. They got Pollard who's coming off injury. He's projected to be ready, but I think they also need to add to that room to really bring out that offense. So right here for the Cowboys, I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs.
Really hope that don't happen.
Wait, say that again, Deuce. Who you picking?
Gibbs.
Okay. Oh, damn, Gibbs. That's a great pick. I would hate that because he's a good little. He's a weapon. That'd be a great pick for them. That'd be a really good pick. I like that. All right. It's a good pick when the other GMs are pissed off. That's a good pick. So that's good.
It is a good pick, but I also think, in a way, I'm not saying he is. I think Tony Pollard and Jahmyr both kind of have the same type of skill set. Like Jahmyr just does a little bit more at an elite level. Me personally, I probably would have went with Cansey there at the defensive line to get him some interior rush. But that's scary. Oh my gosh, that's scary.
Slim has a great comment. He said, "Damn, it's going to bother me in real life." So that's what Slim said. I agree 100%. So, all right, Deuce, I think you're back on the board. You got a lot of picks in a row now. So back on the Bills, AFC East. They need DB. That's what they need.
They definitely need a DB, and they definitely need some help. Running back is also in a consideration here, but they don't really use them. Yeah. I think they're going to pick someone up off of free agency. I would love Zeke to go there because Zeke has become that short yardage type back now in his career. So I think they will look at him there. But here I'm going to go with who I think is the best corner back that's still available in the draft, and that's Emmanuel.
I like that. It's a good pick. I actually at the Saints pick, I was kind of hoping that Forbes would fall to me because I think he has a high upside. Just looking at Forbes really quickly, we know about him. The knock on him is that he's he's kind of slim at 166. He's 6'1", but you can't really hit on the production, right? So you're looking over here. He had 8 picks the past 2 years, 14 altogether in his college career. His coverage grade is at 89.3. He played in the SEC. That's a solid pick. So. We always talk about it in our chat, and I think about this in general. I think like if you're a ball hawk, that's like innately in you. That's just something that you have in him, and I think Forbes has that. So creating turnovers, going to the Bills. The Bills are going to be up a lot too, so he can kind of pin his ears back and take more chances. So that's a great pick. So I kind of like Forbes, one of the Bills. Good pick. RDT, Bengals.
Okay, so Bengals did sign Orlando Brown Jr. this offseason at the contract. They did have some pitting issues with the running back this year. You know what? I think this guy's still on the board. I thought he was going to go earlier to Dallas. I would probably go O-line here too. Wait, who's still on the O-line?
DT.
I could pull it up if you want.
Pretty much.
DT.
What are you looking at? Tackle, or what are you looking at? These are the best tackles on the. Ooh, there's some good tackles on the board, man. Wow. Okay.
There's some good ones. Good ones.
Oh man. Hey
DT. I think Deuce Diggler trying to negotiate with you.
Yeah, Deuce was hitting me up too. I saw the chat.
Yeah, I need to look at this.
I'm saying it.
Oh yeah, because we can all see. That's right. So DT, put it out there. You can let the crowd know what's going on behind the scenes. What's Deuce offering you right now?
Deuce is offering me a second for 2023 and a third for 2024.
He offered the same thing to me, Deuce. All right, go ahead. Well, go ahead.
Man, the guy that didn't pan out was Jonah Williams did not pan out. So I'm going Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright is still on the board. A lot of people think he's consensus one of the top tackles in this draft. I get him. He can start on the offensive line, or he can start at guard. I think he has the body to be built as an offensive guard as well. So I'll add him to the offensive line. Make something way stronger than it's supposed to be to help out Joe Burrow.
I feel that's a good pick. All right, so just real quickly, why'd you pick Darnell Wright over Broderick Jones? Like looking at if you look at the tackles that are on the board, we have Anton Harrison, Broderick Jones, DeJuan Jones. There's a bunch of options. Why do you like Darnell Wright so much? Is his size? So what are you thinking?
I think the size. He's also versatile. He has way more experience at tackle. You look at Broderick; he only had 1 full year. Meanwhile, Darnell Wright has played guard. He has played left tackle, and he's played right tackle. So he has way more experience. He's played in the SEC as well, just like Broderick Jones. But I think he's a little bit more of a safer pick. I don't know what I can get with a Broderick Jones with 1 year starting.
Mm-hmm. All right, I like that. Very good. CJ, I see you in the chat. I'm going to pull it up for you. I'm looking over. He said, CJ was asking what kind of guards we're looking at. We have Steve Avila. These are interior offensive linemen. They don't do actual guards in PFF. And basically, we see Steve Avila. We see Luke Wilper as a center. A lot of centers. I only see a lot of Voorhees. He's on here, but we know about him. He's injured. He's he's more of like a long-term play. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm looking at the Saints. So the Saints have a guard and center needs. I don't know if I'm going to dip in that well yet. I could probably get it in the second round. There's some intriguing picks here for me. Like Kalijah Cansey falling, he's a top 15 projected pick. Being at 29 would be a steal. Broderick Jones would be interesting right there. I was looking at Emmanuel Forbes. Popular picks. There are a lot of guard play. Brian Breesy here as well. What I'm going to do, I think, you want to shore up that interior offensive line, but I think a guard and center is too rich. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Kalijah Cansey. I think that's too rich, too good of a pick to be just sitting there. He's, ranked 13 overall. I'm going to plug him in there for the Saints. Oh, you were off me. I see what you're doing, Deuce, by over the trade in the back. But that's what I'm going to do.
Answer the phone, man. Well, I pivot.
What were you trying to do just for people to know that are watching?
I'm trying to get back in the first.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me try this.
He's just saying Deuce move up is what he's saying.
Let me try this. See if this works.
All right, we had a couple more picks and we're almost done. We have the Eagles and the Chiefs. I should have taken that pick. If you were going to offer me something good, sitting there is pretty nice. I would have taken some more draft picks because the Saints are in rebuild mode anyway.
Yep. See, you don't answer the phone, man. That's what happens. All right. So,
I don't like that trade. I got one for you.
The Eagles, we did show up. The back seven. We added Branch and there. I still think they need to get a little younger on the interior, and I know they drafted the Behemoth last year, who was great on run support, but I think we need to get younger. Yep, Jordan Davis. I think they brought back Fletcher Cox, but he's getting old. I think he's becoming a rotational player. And let me see let me see yours. Make sure I ain't.
What are you looking for?
Let me see who's still on the board.
It sounds like you're doing D-line. So I'll show you the big board if you want. I can pull up D-line if you want.
Make sure the person is on there that I'm looking at. I don't want to make no more of those mistakes. Yeah, go all the way up. Yeah, Breesy. He's still there, right?
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
I'm going to go Brian Breesy right here for the Eagles.
All right. Damascus Hornet. It's a good pick. At D tackles back to back. Oh wait, I don't know why they didn't do the why they skipped the Chiefs. I don't know what happened over there. My bad, dude. Our Breeze. They just give you Project Jones. What would you have done at that pick?
So I'm looking at we lost both our starting tackles from the Super Bowl in free agency.
Okay.
So if I'm the Chiefs, I know you need some receiver help. We can get that later on in the draft. I'm looking at replacing one of those two tackles. At this point, we're down to Anton Harrison and Broderick Jones. I feel and DeJuan Jones, but I feel like DeJuan Jones is strictly a right tackle. So I'm gonna go with Anton Harrison, 31.
All right,
to go protect my quarterback, protect my investment.
I'm going to have to change it on the board because I'm going to post this on socials and we'll talk about it in our group chat. I'll put it on Twitter. For some reason or another, it automatically gave you Broderick Jones, but I'll change it to Anton Harris for you later on. So I got you there. Why'd you go Anton over Broderick?
I think he's a little bit better athlete. Broderick Jones is a bigger guy. Just what I feel like the Chiefs want to do. I feel like Anton Harrison fits that system a little bit better than Broderick Jones does. I think he's just a little bit better fit. That's all.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. All right, we're gonna bring it home in a minute. Let's kind of have like little last minute reflections on the chart off of the draft board. So this is our first round selection. I'm gonna cut it up and I'm gonna post it on Twitter. We can talk about it. Were there any draft surprises that stood out to you, or is there any picks that drove you crazy? So someone got snatched up in front of you. Are you surprised that some of the other players are still on the board? We got some people that are still out there right now. So any last minute thoughts before we wrap it all up?
Again, man, like Arch always tell us, you need two to tangle. If you might want to move back or you might want to move up, but as we've seen here today, as you all witness, people don't answer the phone. They just totally ignore you and make their own picks. So I'm quite sure this is the type of things that happen in real life. So again, we got some good, day two was looking nice for us. We got Jones fails, Schmidt failed, Vila failed. A lot of people fail. A lot of O-line fail. I think we will be able to address it with the 47th pick. As far as
I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised how many quarterbacks went off the board, right? So let's take a look at that. We had Christian Gonzalez, 1, 2, Devin Witherspoon, Deontay Banks, Joey Porter, Cam Smith, Emmanuel Forbes. We had 6 cornerbacks going in the first round, so we value that defensive backfield right there. So good looking out.
Yeah, I'm still Anthony Richardson at 4 is way too rich for my blood. I understand it. I understand it, but man, I couldn't do it.
This would be so much. Man, like next time, like next year.
I think Slim agrees is Tradash or AAR. I can see that. Okay. Well, go ahead, Deuce.
No, I was just saying like 3. I think like if we'd have did more rounds, maybe more trades would have got done. Because right now I'm thinking like, man, I got 1 round. I ain't trading out. You know what I'm saying?
That's basically what it was. I'm looking like
I mean, this is mock draft 1.0. If y'all want to do this in a week or two, let me know. We can run it back again. But that was fun. That was a good time. But yeah, if you have more drafts or more rounds, you definitely could play around with it more. So cool. I like that.
This. Thank you so much.
All right, cool, fellas. George. Yeah, of course. But let's start wrapping up. I'm gonna go around the mic. You guys can just introduce yourselves, your socials, any products you're working on. So we'll do that. We'll wrap it up. So Deuce, we'll start off with you, man. So where can they find you on socials? What are you working on?
Yeah,
man?
just at Red Zone in the lab. You can find me wherever you on social media. Is all under at Red Zone in the lab. You can find all of the podcasts. Today we just introduced with 2 new bloggers, which is Breeze and Terrence is the lead blogger. It's called Red Zone in the Last Seam Route. So we're kind of excited about that. We can start putting some writings out. But other than that, man, the not one but all. We are the 54th. Hail to the 54th.
Yeah, shout out to the 54th, the good people right there. For those of you that don't know, man, Deuce, all these guys are here. They're basically trying to create a whole fan experience, kind of unite the fan base together. I know some people gave Deuce a hard time saying, like, it's an exclusive thing. It's the complete opposite of what it is. They're trying to basically create a fan base where everyone's cool together and kind of bring this Commander fan base back together. So I appreciate that, Deuce. So you're good people, man. So thank you for coming on. Breeze, what about you, man? What about your socials and what are you working on?
Same thing. Coach Breeze _ on Twitter, part of the Red Zone in the Lab family, on the Huddle Podcast. That's about it, man. I'm a busy man this time of year, moving into football season on every level possible, but I'm having fun, pro, college, 100%. High school, all the way around.
There you go. DT, what about you, bro?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at D Cleveland Jr. That's my personal Twitter page. You can also follow my podcast Twitter page, the NZLD Podcast, aka at Darius Ricks. Currently, I'm working on a Commanders big board, so that way last year's little debacle over by the Jahan pick, so we won't be like, man, who is this guy? Where's something now? No, I got all the players on the big board, and I'm also going to have a podcast with a couple of friends and talk about the draft way before the 27th gets here.
Good looking out, guys. Honestly, I appreciate you all. Very, great people. You guys have got some good insight. I really appreciate talking football with you. I'm George Carmi at GCarmi21. You can find me at fullpresscoverage.com. I write articles there. I host Command the Mic. You guys can follow me at FBC Commanders as well. Have a great night. Peace out.